Welcome back to the Watchman's Rest, folks. In today's video, we will explore a small part in Abraham's journey and the art of waiting on God. Our Creator always shows us our patience is better than our force. Let's begin, Watchers. Now the Lord had said to Abram, "Get out of your country, from your family, and from your father's house, to a land that I will show you. I will make you a great nation. I will bless you and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse him who curses you, and in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed." So Abram departed as the Lord had spoken to him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed from Haran. Waiting is a foundational aspect of faith, hope, and love, and it is sometimes one of the hardest works of all. The life of Abraham has several poignant examples of waiting, beginning with his calling by God. It is not immediately apparent from these verses, but Abraham did some waiting that was not waiting on God. Verses 1 to 3 relate what God previously had said, and verse 4 takes place sometime later. Genesis 11:31 to 32 shows Terah taking Abraham, Sarah, and Lot out of Ur and dwelling in Haran, where Terah died. However, Stephen's account in Acts 7:2 shows that Genesis 12:1 to 3 actually took place while Abraham was in Ur, Mesopotamia. But Abraham did not leave Haran and his father's house until after his father had died. This means there is a gap between what God told Abraham in verses 1 to 3 in Ur and his leaving Haran in verse 4. God told him to leave his family and his father's house, but he waited until his father died before he left. Here at the beginning, God actually had to wait on him. There is an important lesson here. Not all waiting is actually waiting on God. It could be procrastination. It could be outright laziness. It could be dragging our feet because we are fearful, uncomfortable, or, like Jonah, we just flat out do not want to do what God wants us to do. We might convince ourselves that we are waiting on God when He is really waiting for us. We might think Abraham and Jonah had it easy because God spoke to them directly. We can read the accounts, and it seems pretty clear to us what these men should have done and when they should have acted right away. On the other hand, we have a whole book full of God's instructions, yet we also tend to want to wait until the circumstances are more to our liking before acting. So we wait of our own volition, not because God requires us to. This shows that a distinction exists between God's promises and instructions. Generally, the time to wait on God is not when He gives instructions, including instructions written millennia ago. When that happens, He expects us to act on them. Instead, the time to wait on God is when He promises to do something or states that something will happen. He may give us a glimpse of the future, but we must wait for Him to bring it to pass. That waiting is work because it takes discipline, restraint, patience, and focus. It is work to sit on our hands. The alternative is to go out and try to bring God's will to pass ourselves, and as we will see, that never ends well. In Genesis chapter 12, verse 2, God tells Abraham that he will be a great nation, which implies he will have children. Later, When Abraham is in Canaan, God again appears to him, and he brings up his childlessness. Genesis chapter 15, verses 1 to 3. God tells him he will have an heir and makes a covenant with him. Verses 4 to 20. But we know how the story goes. Abraham and Sarah decided to cause this to happen themselves rather than waiting on God. Genesis chapter 16, verses 1 to 2. So they came up with a brilliant plan that everybody agreed to, except God, and carried it out. Immediately, bad fruit began to be born, strife and division. Nobody was happy with how things turned out, not Hagar, not Sarah, and if the women folk were not happy, we can be sure Abraham was not either. Abraham and Sarah took it upon themselves to help God fulfill his promise rather than doing the real work of waiting on him. Let's end with a prayer. Dear Lord, help us to trust in your timing and wait patiently for your promises to be fulfilled. Selah. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, a life without Christ is a life that is never fixed. So long, Watcher.
In the heart of the village, where the lights shine bright, we're searching for meaning in the dead of night. Lost souls on the corner, trying to find their way to love the Most High. In this game we play, love the Lord with all your heart, soul and mind. That's the first commandment, the one you can't leave behind. And the second one's like it, love your neighbor true, as you love yourself in everything you do. From backyard creeks to the highest peak, we're climbing for heaven while the devil seek. Through the struggle and the pain, we find our strength to keep the faith alive, no matter the length. Love the Lord with all your heart, soul and mind. That's the first commandment, the one you can't leave behind. And the second one's like it, love your neighbor true, as you love yourself in everything you do. In a world full of hate, we chose to elevate, spread love like wildfire, defy the hate. From the ghetto all the way to country roads, until the streets of gold, we're all in this together, the young, the old, and the already told. So take heed of the word, let them sink deep within. Let love be the guide through thick and S-I-N. Let love be the guide in everything that he